all children, my trips are over. This engineer needs a rest because my hand is shaky and I'm feeling a tugging pain in my breast. But years of twilight gather. I'll tell you a tale of the road that'll ring in my head forever till it rests beneath the stars. We were rolling along in the twilight. The night was dropping her shade, and the Gladstone lake was climbing to the top of the grade. The train, it was heavily laden, so I let the engine rest, climbing the grading slowly till I reached an upland crest. But I knew the mountain. Then I held my watch to the lamplight, 10 minutes behind the time, lost in the slacking motion and the upgrade heavy climb. But I knew the mouth of the prairie to stretch the level track, so I touched the gauge of the boiler and pulled the lever back. Over the rails gleaming, 60 an hour or so, the engine leaped like a demon, breathing a fiery glow. But to me, a hold of the throttle, it seemed the child always trustfully and always ready, my lightest touch to obey. My lightest touch to obey. Just left my rail. My lightest touch to obey. Over the rails gleaming, 60 an hour or so, the engine leaped like a demon, breathing a fiery glow. But to me, a hold of the throttle, it seemed the child always trustfully and always ready, my lightest touch to obey. We neared a well-known cabin where a child of 3 or 4 often called me, playing around her door. My hand was firm on the throttle when it swept around the curve, and something of fire in the shadows struck fire through every nerve. I sounded the brakes and crushed it. The reverse lever down in dismay, when groaning to heaven, 8 spaces ahead was a child at his play. One instant, one awful and only, the world flew down in my brain, and I smote my hand on my forehead to keep back the terrible pain. The train, I thought, flying forever, with mad, irresistible roll, while the cries of the dying, the night wind swept through my shuddering soul. Now I stood on the front of my engine. How I got there, I never can tell. A feet planted down to the crossbar where the cowcatcher sloped to the rail. One hand firmly locked on the coupler, and one held out in the night, while my eye guessed the distance and measured the speed of the slackened flight. One rod to the day of my dying, I should think that old engine right back, and as I recall with a shudder, I swept my hand over the track. They found us, they sat on the gravel, my fingers entangled in her hair, and she on my bosom was climbing to nestle securely there. Now we not much given to crying, we men that run on the road. That night they said they were patient with tears on their lips to God. For years in the evenings and mornings, as I neared that cabin again, my hand on the lever pressed downwards and slackened the speed of my train. When my whistle had blown her a greeting, she always would come to the door, and her look with the fullness of heaven blesses me evermore.